one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mr. Alt. Here. Mr. Beistel. Here. Mr. Carson. Here. Mr. Fry. Here. Mr. Polakowski. Here. Mr. Porter. Here. Mrs. Rhodes. Here. Mrs. Smith. Here. Mrs. Love.
Here. Citizens' comments?
Michelle Williams.
Michelle Williams, 208 North Chestnut Street, Scottsdale. I just have two things. So, because I'm going to ask this question every single meeting, so it'll be like beating a dead horse, and I apologize, but I'd like to know how ESS is functioning within our building as far as paraprofessionals go, substitute teachers goes. Are we fully staffed?
I believe right now we are ironing out a couple of little bumps that we started out in the beginning of the year. I do believe that we've moved towards resolution on a couple things.
So we're not fully staffed?
With the teachers?
I'm specifically the paraprofessionals because I think that's a bigger issue right now. I would hope that we haven't had a lot of call-offs yet, but I understand the flu's already going around, so... but paraprofessional-wise, do we have all of those positions staffed?
No, not right now.
That's sad. My second thing is I noticed in new business tonight that we're going to discuss sending 2 children to the Highlands Autism Program. So I'm wondering if that's happening because we're not able to provide them support here, or is that happening because the parents want to educate them somewhere else? And I would certainly hope that it was a parent's choice and not that we cannot support somebody here. Because as I've said before, this is the best place in this part of the state to educate these children. So I would hope that we're making great strides to move towards supporting all of them. Thank you.
You are.
Any other citizens' comments?
No.
Band equipment hauler.
The board is asked to approve Jim Springer as band equipment hauler for the 2019-2020 school year at a supplemental salary of $750.
Motion. Mr. Beistel, second. Mrs. Rhodes, discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Alt. Yes. Mr. Beistel. Yes. Mr. Carson.
Yes.
Mr. Fry.
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski.
Yes.
Mr. Porter.
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodes.
Yes.
Mrs. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Love.
Yes.
Motion carries. All in favor.
Citizens' comments? Motion to end the voting meeting and enter into a discussion meeting?
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Polakowski, second. Mrs. Rhodes? Is that a voice vote? Can just go one?
Voice vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Do we have to have a motion to start the next meeting, or can we just go into it?
No, I think you just go into it.
Okay. Planning session, roll call, please.
Mr. Alt.
Yes.
Mr. Beistel.
Yes.
Mr. Carson.
Yes.
Mr. Fry.
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski.
Yes.
Mr. Porter. Mrs. Rhodes. Mrs. Smith. Mrs. Love.
Yes. Citizens' comments? Minutes, approval of minutes?
The board will be asked to consider the approval of the minutes of the August 8th, 2019 discussion meeting and the minutes of the August 15th, 2019 voting meeting.
Accounts, fund accounting check summary?
Board will be asked to consider the approval of the August 2019 fund accounting check summary.
General fund expenditures and revenues report.
The board will be asked to consider the approval of the August 2019 general fund expenditures and revenue report.
Treasurer's report, July 2019.
The board will be asked to consider the approval of the July 2019 treasurer's report.
General fund budget for new grant, PA Smart.
The board is asked to consider opening the 2019-2020 general fund budget per School Code Section 609, 24 PS 6-609, budgeted funds not to be used for other purposes or exceeded, to recognize and authorize the receipt and expenditure of the PA Smart Targeted Computer Science and STEM Education Grant, project number 153-18-0230, for $35,000, and to approve the addition of the following special budgeting account numbers to be used for the grant as following. PA Grants Revenue Account 10-7506-00-390. Dave, you'll have to read all those videos.
No, they're written.
For $35,000.
So you don't have to.
Expenditure accounts, instructional staff development, staff stipend payroll 10-2271-131-390-20 for $6,760. Staff stipend for Social Security tax 10-2271-220-390-20 for $517. Staff stipend retirement 10-2271-230-390-20 for $1,159. Staff subs through ESS Source for Teachers 10-2271-329-390-20 for $1,200. Staff travel expenses 10-2271-580-390-20 for $2,540. And staff general supplies 10-2271-610-390-20 for $22,824 for a total expenditure budget of $35,000.
Board reports, superintendent information.
Yes, I would like to recognize and thank Center Bethel Church of God. This evening, they held a spaghetti dinner for our football team. It was very gracious of them. The food was delicious, so I really wanted to thank them on behalf of the football team and the district for their generosity in feeding our athletes and our students. And I will have additional information next week.
Any solicitor information?
I had spoken with East Huntington Township Solicitor Aaron Bylon and asked for an update of their activities in relation to Roughdale building. And he informed me that last Thursday the supervisors had approved obtaining an appraisal both for the entire property and just for the ball fields. They also approved hiring a building inspector for air quality test, a camera to go into the sewer lines in order to help determine where the situation is with the leach fields, radon testing, electrical, and roof. He had not yet heard back from the inspector as to when they intended to accomplish that. That's all the information I have.
Thank you. No old business, new business.
Wait, Solicitor's workshop.
Oh, sorry, solicitor's workshop.
The board will be asked to consider the approval of the annual school law workshop for David Botonic, school solicitor in Hershey, PA, School law workshop registration fee is $340, October 16th, 2019, but Mr. Petonic is requesting arriving the evening of October 15th, 2019, at a cost of $225.33 for lodging, plus Mr. Petonic requests the usual and customary meal and transportation expenses.
No old business. Moving to new business. The future is mine.
The board will be asked to consider an agreement between Consortium for Public Education and Southmoreland School District to support students. The Future is Mine, TFIM, at a district cost of $1,800.
2019-2020 service delivery agreement with St. Vincent Prevention Products.
The board will be
Projects.
asked to The board will be asked to consider the 2019-2020 service delivery agreement with St. Vincent's College Prevention Projects, and I would like to point out that their cost has not gone up for the last 6 years, so they've held their cost.
Juvenile probation officers.
The board will be asked to consider approving an agreement between Southmoreland School District and Westmoreland County Juvenile Probation, which authorizes for defensive purposes probation officers to carry firearms only in district schools.
Revised Meals for Students, Act 55 of 2017, Section 1337.
In working with Vicki, this does not pertain to our district at this time. We do participate in the National School Lunch and School Breakfast Program, so we are not eligible to participate in that. Am I correct, Mrs. Capone? And I'm sorry I called you Vicki, used your first name, but that is correct, Brett. So we're going to remove that from the agenda.
Okay. Student number 1, 2019-2020 Highlands Autism.
The board will be asked to consider the approval of an agreement with Southmoreland and Highlands Hospital Regional Center for Autism for student number 1, 2019-2020.
Student number 2, 2019-2020 Highlands Autism.
The board will be asked to consider the approval of an agreement with Southmoreland and Highlands Hospital Regional Center for Autism for student number 2, 2019-2020.
Personnel, accept resignation from supplemental PJ Spires.
The board will be asked to accept the resignation of P.J. Spires, effective immediately, from the supplemental of stage director. P.J. thanked the board for the opportunity to hold this position for so many years. The position was posted.
Supplemental for stage director.
The board will be asked to consider the approval of Jacob Smithula to the supplemental as stage director for the 2019-2020 school year at a supplement of $3,974.
Class play sponsor, high school musical director resignation.
The board will be asked to consider the resignation of Michelle Zamborini as play sponsor, the high school musical director, effective immediately, and grant permission to the board, from the board, to post the position.
Senior class sponsor for the 2019-2020 school year.
The board will be asked to consider the approval of Chris Hickson for the 2019-2020 senior class sponsor at a supplemental of $1,633.
Senior class sponsor for the, oh no, twice.
Yeah, there's two different ones.
Okay, the senior class sponsor for the 2019-2020 school year.
The board will be asked to consider the approval of Jenna Hickson for the 2019-2020 senior class sponsor at a supplemental of $1,633.
YEA sponsor.
The board is asked to consider the approval of Larry Ansel as the YEA Youth Education Association sponsor at the high school for the 2019-2020 school year at a supplemental salary of $1,000.
Resignation of middle school head wrestling coach.
The board will be asked to consider the resignation of Ian Malice as the middle school head wrestling coach and authorize administration to post the position.
2019-2020 volunteer football coach.
The board will be asked to consider the approval of Jake Beistel as a volunteer football coach for the 2019-2020 school year, and this is for when he is available.
Resignation of cafeteria worker.
The board will be asked to consider accepting with regrets the resignation of Kathy Perkey due to the retirement as a cafeteria worker effective 8/26/2019. Kathy has been with the district for 27 years.
Volunteer swimming coaches.
The board is asked to consider Jen Busado and Mike Busado as volunteer swimming coaches for the 2019-2020 school year.
Day-to-day substitute secretary cafeteria worker.
The board will be asked to consider Jessica Edwards of Everson, PA as a day-to-day secretarial cafeteria substitute on an as-need basis for the 2019-2020 school year. All clearances are on file with the administration.
Substitute nurse.
The board will be asked to consider approving Camille Tapp as a day-to-day substitute nurse for the 2019-2020 school year.
Citizens' comments.
I just wish they could make this bigger.
Have the books been closed for the 18-19 school year? Have all the bills been paid, all the money's in for last year?
We have not stopped accepting bills for last year. They're still trickling in.
So you really don't know what the final...
No, we do not. But we also have started the process with our external auditor, Mr. Turnley.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
We've started the process with our auditor, Mr. Turnley.
Oh. When will you know, Jim? When will you get a final tally on what happened?
Probably by the end of October.
By the end of October. Thank you.
So this is nothing school-wise, but the Scottdale Centennial Lions are trying to regroup and reorganize, and we're having a cleanup at the gazebo on Saturday at 11 a.m. We'd like to invite you all. Just cleaning up before the fall festival, but I think that rebuilding our school district and getting back some of the things we have lost starts with rebuilding our community. And Scottdale's not in a very good way right now. If you take a drive through town, it's looking a little bleak, but we just want to make it a better place to live, a better place to raise our children. So I just thought that we should invite you all to attend. Any teachers living in the borough that would like to attend, we extend that to you too. Thank you.
Along those same vein, if you haven't noticed Laux Park, they have done a tremendous amount of work at Laux Park, and it really looks wonderful. And I do believe that one of the gentlemen that's been a driving force behind that is sitting back there. So thank you very much for all that you've done for.
Any other citizens' comments? Motion to adjourn. Mrs. Rhodes, second. Mrs. Smith, all in favor say aye. Opposed?